thing that Im and I experienced after our mums died is brain fog and like cognitive fatigue. What's happening there?
This is far too commonly reported for it to not be anything. I will say that it is an interesting thing to study. So we do have some, proper neuropsychological testing of people who are bereaved. And we do see sometimes some overall cognitive slowing, for example. But that's a very specific way to think about the way the mind and the brain works, right? You go into a room, you try and do a test, a memory test or a fast-paced test, and we look at your mental functioning. That's not really how most of us are operating in the world, right? We're not, doing this one task alone and trying to, do our best job at it. So although there can be changes even at that level, I think the far more common thing that is happening is when you are learning, it takes a lot of mental effort. And a lot of the things that you're learning are at the level of habit or automatic processing, right? And so I think that a lot of what is happening is we're more distracted than unable to think, right? So I think both can be true. But that is to say, for example, if you're in the grocery store and you're actually spending half of your brain thinking, oh my gosh, my daughter's birthday is coming up and her gran isn't going to send her anything. And I wonder if I should get something, or would that be too weird? If that's what you're doing when you're grocery shopping, if you arrive home and you did not purchase the milk, are we surprised? Perhaps not,
This is so interesting. It makes total sense because you do live in that world.
Exactly. I don't know if you've ever used Google Maps, but you're driving along and you're using Google Maps and then it says turn left and it's like a bike path. And suddenly you're like in panic, right? Like, wait, what's happening? But think of all the extra processing that's happening when this thing you've depended on, this map you've been depending on, is wrong. And now you have to figure out how to get through the world instead. It's a lot to do.
Is there anything that helps if you are struggling with brain fog or you're struggling to concentrate?
I would say a couple of things. Use as many external tools as you can. Make lists, put things on your calendar, turn off the irrigation can go on the calendar now, right? Like it should be just something you remember, but now just put it on the calendar. And, particularly for the people who are around you, saying to them, text me when you get there and remind me where you've gone, just help them to understand I'm not firing on all cylinders here. I may ask you to repeat things and just bear with me. This is part of the process. So I think relying on those external things, keeping your calendar, setting your alarm, relying on all of those things helps. I think being aware of where your mind is can be helpful. Giving yourself the space and the grace to take a moment when your mind is somewhere else, rather than trying to force it to do something it's not equipped to do at that moment, can also be very helpful.